here in studio is the panel. That was, by the way, what she did at the end there with the sign. That is a reference to there was a rally. I think it was in favor of trans rights, but I'm not sure. But in any case, there was somebody at the rally that had a sign that was pretty offensive, saying that if trans kids can't, I forget the exact thing, but it was something like trans kids can't come to school, you can't drink from my water fountain, which obviously Lieutenant Governor Spears and Congresswoman Spanberger both attacked as racist, which it was. And anyway, that's what, just for people confused as to why she may have held up that sign. If you're not a Virginia political junkie, you would not know that. You're a Virginia voter, Mark. Democrats want this to be a referendum on President Trump. What do you make of the race? At the latest polls I've seen have Spanberger ahead.
Well, look, I think that as Northern Virginia populations continue to swell with federal government employees, Virginia has moved, frankly, from being a purple state to truly a blue state. Glenn Youngkin won. He is a good candidate. He won, I think, in a perfect storm when you had Democrats control all levers of the government after the Biden victory in 2020. The last time we had Republican Governor Bob McDonnell was the same thing the year after Obama's clean sweep. So typically, this is headwinds for Republicans to run in this environment, particularly when Republicans control all levers of government. Winsome Sears is an inspiring personal story. She's a Jamaican immigrant who served in the U.S. Marines, as you said. She started a small business. She's a mom. She should be somebody that the National Republicans should be supporting more than they are, frankly. It is a headwind race for us, but she's not getting a lot of support from National Republicans.
Yeah. What do you make of the race? Spanberger, for people who don't know, I think she's been in Congress for 2 or 3 terms. She's a former CIA officer. So her calling her no background is an interesting.
Yeah.
What's your take?
Yeah, look, I've done, I think, 7, 8 statewide races in Virginia over the years. And where I might quibble a little bit with Mark is I think Virginia is still a purple state. It's a bluish shade of purple, but it's still a purple state. It's a very competitive state. But where the population is swelling, the Northern Virginia suburbs and the Hampton Roads suburbs around Norfolk, those are two economies, 2 regions where the economy is completely dependent on federal government. Number of federal employees, federal contractors, small businesses that depend on federal employees and their business. This big, beautiful bill and the whole DOGE effort is costing Virginia like tens of thousands of jobs, according to many estimates. She has no response. Winsome Sears has no response to that. Abigail Spanberger is running a very disciplined campaign, talking about her differences with that, as well as her differences with the National Democratic Party on some issues. And she's kind of figured out how to thread the needle in a competitive, purplish state that I think in other races, in that kind of an environment, people might learn from.
So President Trump has said he wants crime to be the big issue in 2026. He's making that pretty clear by sending the National Guard to California. Now they're here in D.C. Today, some Republican senators held a press conference highlighting the success of the crime crackdown in D.C. Take a listen.
One of my staffers' cars in the apartment was riddled with bullets. 2 other my staffers' vehicles were broken in, and a 4th staffer was attacked by young punks.
We got here and immediately started hearing staff that was afraid to go out at night from their apartments, members that had staff murdered, attacked, assaulted.
I've had to step over homeless, have had to ask police, to help in certain areas.
Mark, today President Trump said he's considering sending troops to New Orleans, which does have a Republican governor. Is this just going to continue? How do you see this playing out for the midterms?
Look, I think it's going to continue, Jake. I think it's a good issue for the president politically. I think he was right to send troops into D.C. It is our nation's capital. It also has federal oversight. Even though I think it's a good political issue for the president, because Democrats keep going and claiming that there's actually not serious crime in Chicago or D.C., which I think puts them in a really bad, awkward position. I do think that constitutionally it should be something that the governors request National Guard support. It's not something that the executive branch has authority to do except here in D.C.
There you go, invoking that pesky Constitution again, Mark. What do you think?
Crime is a problem, right? I'm a Democrat who thinks crime is a problem in a lot of places. The biggest case of mass crime recently in D.C. was January 6th, and the president pardoned all those criminals. But there are ways to help tackle this, and mayors have been asking for it. More cops, give us budget for more cops. This president's legislation cut that. Invest more in safer communities. He stopped that. So there are ways to do it besides sending troops in.
Yeah, I mean, there is a way to solve the problem by partnering, which has happened in the past. Thanks to both of you. Appreciate it.